Hello, spooky fan. I'm calling you that for this month because it's spooky month. Anyway, I hope y'all are going to enjoy this video. It's another r/no sleep subreddit video. I just want to say I'm sorry for the bad lighting here. It was early morning, so I like Reddit a lot. And this one is called The Ghost in Grandpa's Attic. We might have a little visitor. We have a little visitor in our video. She seems startled to death, but I swear she loves me. Don't you? You love me, don't you? You're gonna lay on my lap, lay on my lap. Let's get in with the story. When I was a kid, I used to think my grandpa's attic was haunted. My parents couldn't afford a sitter, so whenever they needed a date night, they dropped me off at my grandpa's. I liked spending the weekends at his place. He'd take me for burgers and tell me cool stories about his time in the Navy, but I was always real scared of his attic. You see, back when I was about 6, I was staying over at my grandpa's one rainy Friday night. He was busy making dinner, and I'd gotten bored of whatever was on TV, so I decided to have a nosy around his home. His house was one of those with those old-style concerta loft ladders, the kind you pull down to form a staircase. I always wondered what that little dangly thing in the ceiling was for. When I looked, it was halfway down, almost within reach. My curiosity got the better of me. I jumped as high as I could, managing to get a grip of the cord to pull the ladder down fully. I was amazed. My grandpa had a secret room in his house. 6-year-old me thought that was the coolest thing ever. When I ventured up the narrow staircase, I saw all kinds of interesting old junk. There were dusty old model airplanes, an old banjo, and stacks of old TV guides, but best of all, there was a pirate chest. At least that's what it looked like to my younger self. Then, just as I was sifting through all kinds of what I imagined was treasure, I heard something groan behind me in the darkness. I turned, trembled to see the old pirate chest, making a large grating sound as if shifted heavily across the wooden floor. I practically jumped down the flimsy concerta ladder, screaming for my grandpa. He came running, initially, first thinking I had fallen and broken a bone, but when I told him what the matter was, he just laughed. I was furious that he didn't believe me as I listened to him try to explain it away. Creaking wood, the wind whistling among loose tiles, he said old houses make noises like that sometimes. Only when he pretended to believe me did I actually calm down. He told me that as long as I didn't go up into the attic, the ghost wouldn't bother me. My parents were furious that he played into the story, thinking that he'd only frighten me more. But after a while, I sort of forgot about it. I grew up, got older, left town for university in a big city where I ended up staying for work. It had completely slipped my mind. That was until a few days ago, when an old friend got in touch via Facebook. You know how it happens. A little friend request pops up, you click on their name, see how much they've lost off the top or gained around the waist. Alex and I had been pretty close all throughout secondary school, so I accepted the request, sent him a message, and we arranged to go for a pint to catch up. Turns out he's a writer now, like an actual true crime writer. He told me he wrote a bestseller last year. I was absolutely ecstatic for him, and we chatted about it for a bit before the conversation drifted into what he's doing currently. To my amusement, he told me he was writing a book about our hometown. We grew up in this dismal little place in the middle of nowhere, so I wondered what was possibly so interesting about it that could warrant a book being written. He told me it was about something that happened a long, long time ago, so he wasn't surprised I didn't remember. But it had rocked our small community. People were shocked and grieving for weeks. The more he talked about it, the more pieces started to come back to me. Flowers on the roadside, people walking from the church with lit candles. I asked him to jog my memory a bit more. To my horror, he told me that in autumn of 1977, 2 children had gone missing from our town and the smaller villages surrounding it. They were declared dead a few years later, but no bodies were ever found and no suspect was ever arrested. I would have been 6 years old in 1977. Right around that time, I came to believe that the attic was haunted. There'll be no sleep for me tonight. Not when all I can hear when I turn off the light is the desperate groan of that old chestmaid. How, when I think about it now, it sounded an awful lot like a frightened little girl. Ooh, that's always fun when you find out your grandpa could have been a child kidnapper. Anyways, Willow and I will see you in the next video. Yeah, goodbye, Willow. Check my socials over there. And subscribe and like. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.